Hello. Good morning, all. See if anybody's here yet. Good morning. I'm Jennifer Eubank, here live with the Sun and Moon Yoga YouTube channel. We'll start in just a few moments. Adjust my camera a little bit. There we go, that's a little better. Good morning, somebody's here. Feel free to pipe in. You don't need to if you don't want to. It's more important that you gather our props that we're going to need today. Today we'll be using a chair. We'll start seated in the chair to explore our breath, and then we'll use that breath exploration and take a little bit further in some restorative poses. Oh, sorry for that clatter. Sorry about that. Ugh. I guess my footsteps, my setup did not like my heaving forward to see who that was. So we'll be using a chair. We'll start seated in the chair, and then we'll do a few poses down on the floor, in which case we'll need at least a blanket or two, perhaps a couple of blocks, and a pillow. Good morning, Janet. Good morning, Susan. Hello, hello. Adjust my camera a little bit. Having some technical issues this morning. Okay. So in case you didn't hear, we need a chair and perhaps a blanket or two and a cushion. Maybe some blocks. We'll be using those for support at the end, and you'll see what I mean. But just have them nearby, ready to go. And we'll start in a seated position. I'm going to go ahead and remove my sweater. You're welcome to have socks on for this first part. Actually, I think you can keep them on for the entire part, the whole session. Move my chair back a little bit more. So thank you for being here. I'm Jennifer Eubank, here each Tuesday from 10 to 10:30. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for having me and joining us here at Sun and Moon. Today, last week we focused on the releasing and invigorating effects of lion's breath. In like a lion. Maybe you want to do a couple of those as you settle into your seat. It's a very releasing and invigorating style of yogic breathing. And we also explored Ujjayi breath, which is very energizing. And this week, I want to focus more on a quiet, restorative, relaxing practice. And we'll use a different kind of breath called golden thread breath. And it's a very calming, quieting, releasing breath. And it is a lot like lion's breath, and you inhale through the nose and you exhale through the mouth. But when you exhale through the mouth, the tongue or the lips and the teeth are barely parted, and you press the breath out with your tongue against the teeth. So you inhale through the nose, you separate the teeth, and just slightly part your lips and push the breath out with your tongue. You can hear it hissing. You can feel the breath on your chin and on the bottom of your face here. So lips are barely open, teeth are slightly parted. You inhale deeply through the nose and then take a nice long exhale out through that tiny opening, and it's as if someone is pulling the breath out like it's a thread, hence its name, golden thread breath. And I'll come a little closer. So you inhale through the nose, and then part the teeth and lips. Pushing that breath through with the tip of the tongue. And because there's very little space for that breath to escape, it takes far longer to leave the body. And for me, that exhale takes 3, 4, sometimes even 5 times as long as the inhale. I'm going to sit back in my chair. Ensure we have a nice, stable seat. Feet are rooted, legs are in contact with the chair, belly is drawn in, heart is lifted, hand on the legs to kind of seal that deal of being connected to the earth. Inhaling deeply through the nose and then exhaling through those slightly parted lips and teeth, pushing it out with the tip of the tongue. Do about 5 or 6 of these. Continue to take your 5 lion's breath, or excuse me, your golden thread breath. Make sure that you're strong and stable, but light and gentle, released and relaxed. Notice the physical effects from this golden thread breath. My shoulders sink lower and lower and lower. It's amazing how profound this breath is. Tremendous releasing opportunity. And different from that lion's breath, as that releases in an invigorating way, this breath releases in a very calming and gentling kind of manner. And we'll use that breath for a couple of restorative poses, and we'll use the chair for our first one. I'm turning it sideways, and then we can get down on the floor and have pardon that siren. And put a blanket on the heels for the thighs and the hips to rest upon. And then we'll put the chair pretty close to us, and the back of the chair is away from me. And then we put a blanket or a pillow, something soft on the chair. And it's called hare pose. Bring the body forward and rest forward. Let's start with the head facing the front. And you can have the hands away and kind of holding on to the chair, or you can actually use the hands for a part of that pillow surface. It depends on how high the chair is and the pillow, what have you, or maybe you're using that blanket. And then as you're ready, turn the head to the side. As I turn my head to the side, then I bring my hands more into it, and I use those hands to rest my ear upon. And we'll settle in. This is called hair pose. And we're using the chair. I call it chair hair. So we don't have to go down too far. It's a lot like child's pose, but we're higher up. And once you settle in to the stability, the structure, and the attention that you're giving to your body as it relates to this structure and the supports, and kind of take a couple of breaths to release into that stability. Let go of tensions in the shoulders, the hips, and the knees. Maybe close the eyes. Make sure your head is supported and that your neck is soft. Don't want any angles in that neck. A nice neutral neck and head. And then we'll take 5 of those golden thread breaths in this hair pose. Again, you inhale through the nose and you exhale through slightly parted teeth and lips, gently pressing the air out with the tip of the tongue against the teeth. As you make your way to 5 breaths, notice any changes, any releases that have happened in the shoulders from that breath. And then as you're ready, root into your foundation and lift up just enough to bring your head back to the center. And let's take a couple of breaths with the head front and center. Maybe the chin on the hands, maybe even bring the forehead down, whatever feels comfortable for you. And this is a good time to change the chair or the setup if you need to, if you need more support. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And I will turn my chair around so I can face you as we do the other side. So once you're stabilized, go ahead and turn the head in the other direction and reconnect with your stability with the head turn. Take a couple of breaths to ensure things feel right, things feel safe for you. And then as you're ready, maybe close the eyes and take 5 of those golden thread breaths on this side. Notice how much longer the exhale is than the inhale. Notice the releasing effects that it has. physicality of your body. Maybe your shoulders feel a little heavier and more released and closer to the earth, to the hips. Maybe as you release, you feel a little bit more rooted and connected to your foundation. Maybe your breath is starting to smooth out and become more gentle as a result of this breath exploration. And in turn, what does that do for your emotions? Your response emotionally to this pose? Thoughts. And as you finish up those 5 on that side, bring the head back to center and stay here for a few breaths back in the center, bringing true balance back to the body. And then we can press into our foundation to lift back up. And then we'll move the chair out of the way. And then let's sit on that blanket. Maybe you had one between the heels and the hips. Maybe you have one nearby. Go ahead and sit on that surface, lifting the hips up a little bit. And then we'll extend one leg out, and then the other, bend it and bring the sole of that foot on the inside of that extended leg. So it's actually the sole of my bent leg foot is making contact with the inside thigh. And this first pose we'll do, it's called a half, I can't remember what it's called yet, I'll think of it in a moment, half butterfly, half extended butterfly. And we'll do this without supports, and then we'll use the supports for the end of this pose. So stabilize things and actually face the outstretched leg. And I've got my fingers tent pole to give me some stability and structure in the back. And I want to take a few breaths to ensure that even though my legs are slightly different, there's a sense of balance between the two. Leveling the hips and the sits bones. The belly drawn in and the heart lifted. Shoulders and neck relaxed. And then whenever you're ready, press into the foundation, the feet, the legs, the sits bones, and start to hinge your hips and come forward slowly and quietly. And as you do so, continue to tent pole those fingers and lift the heart and reach forward as you lower. And anytime you like, you can go ahead and lower the head. If you want to keep it up while you're going down, that's fine, or you can go ahead and bring it down. And the goal is not to come all the way down, it's to come down to a point where you feel comfortable, closer to the earth, even in the body, even in your stability, as well as the lightness and the release of the shoulders. And then we'll take 3 golden thread breaths here. Again, you inhale through the nose and exhale through slightly parted lips and teeth, gently pressing that air out with the tip of the tongue against the teeth. Notice the releasing effects that can have on your lower back, your shoulders. When you finish those 2, maybe 3 golden breaths, you can go ahead and lift the head, or you can keep it down as you come back up. Either works. Foundation good and solid as you rise up. I've been experimenting with keeping my head down and making that the last thing to rise up. And that helps me stay cool, calm, and collected, which is the purpose of this practice today. Last week it was very energizing. This week a little bit more calming. Out like a lamb. So we'll do the other side. Take your time to build your structure. If you need another support that you didn't have that first time, get that. Spend a few breaths facing your outstretched leg and finding that connection between the 2 legs and the legs and the floor. Find that reach with the heart as you begin to lower it. Maybe drop the head. Maybe keep it up. Maybe try both. Keep it up the first couple of breaths and then let it go. And when you're as far as you're going to go, take a breath or 2 to stabilize that, and then explore that golden thread breath 2 or 3 times here. And when you're done with that exploration, press into your foundation. Use that foundation, the strength of your limbs. Slowly come up. Lift the head when you're ready. And then let's turn the body back to the center and extend the other leg out, and let's shake them out. And then let's do a little bit of tapping and going up and down the legs on the insides, the tops, and the outsides of the legs. And then as you're ready, let's find our supports for our last pose, which is called Dragonfly Pose, a classic yin style pose. And both legs are extended and they're out wide-ish, and don't go so wide that you bring discomfort to your body. So wide enough to open up those hips and still enable you to stretch out those legs. And if you have tight hamstrings, feel free to slightly bend the knees a little bit. That's fine. You can even put blocks under the knees for this pose. So that's how you can deal with tightness in the legs. And then in the middle, we'll stack up our supports. And keep in mind, we'll be going forward. So if you don't want to go forward very far, build up your support. And this is very similar to what we did earlier with that hare pose, but now we're down on the floor, less of a support, might maybe go down a little bit lower. So when you're ready, stabilize things. Feel your foundation, your connection to the earth, and your connection with your center of gravity. a sense of balance with the body. And then as you're ready, start to press into those foundation points and hinge at the hips. Start to make your way forward and go slow at first. Check in with those hamstrings. How far are they going to let you go? And how are they going to let you go forward? Do you need more support? Whenever you're ready, feel free to drop the head. And then we'll eventually stack those arms on top of the support and put the head down on the arms and the support. I just decided I need a little bit more. And when you come to your comfort position, take a few breaths to release physically into the pose. And then take a couple of those golden thread breaths and see if you might release even more so. Physically, energetically, intellectually, emotionally. When you're ready, check in with your structure. Make sure it's there for you. And press into that foundation, slowly coming up. Maybe the head rose first, maybe you've kept it down. Maybe the head is the last thing to lift up. And then let's come into what is called square pose. Square pose is a lot like easy pose. Easy pose, your knees are out pretty wide. Let's see if we can bring the knees closer in so that a knee is on the opposite foot or ankle or both. So we're stacking our knees on those feet. And draw your belly in, lift your heart, release your shoulders, hands on the knees. Take a few breaths, stabilizing the seat with purpose. And then release into it so it's not stiff and rigid. Hands facing you, palms facing you. Let's finish with a mudra. Connect the pinky tips and the ring fingertips together, and the other fingers extended lightly. This is called the Eubank Mudra. We hold it in front of our solar plexus, right above the belly button. Belly drawn in, heart lifted, and perhaps close your eyes as you hold this mudra. This mudra represents the two faces. Eubank, that means two faces. Side of our personality that limits us, as well as that limitless true being. Many times it's conflicts within our personality that keeps us from truly relaxing and releasing. Notice how this mudra directs the breath down into the belly, down into the lower region, your connection to the earth. Let's take one golden thread breath here. couple more breaths to register the effects. And then as you're ready, we'll join the two hands and lift them a little bit higher in front of the heart. May you be safe, may you be happy, and may you be free from suffering. Namaste. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for that practice, and I hope to see you again next week. Again, I'm Jennifer Eubank. I'm here every Tuesday from 10 to 10:30. And this spring, in all of my classes, I will be focusing on the meridians. And we'll be infusing a lot of different techniques to explore our meridians, those channels within the body. So we'll be doing some traditional Hatha yoga, but also some infusing Korean and Chinese techniques, and I'm sure I'll be exploring those ideas in my YouTube classes each Tuesday. So we'll be doing lots of flow and breath and a little bit different work over the next few weeks, and I hope to see you. Please come again, check out my website, jennifereubank.com, and check out Sun and Moon Yoga's website. We have lots of workshops and classes coming up. We're gearing up for live and in-person classes back at the studio. So we hope to see you soon. Thank you for being here. Make sure I approach my computer gingerly. Last time I made it crash down. A few people still here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a great day. Be safe.